Hey guys, and welcome to A Cast of Salt number 71.
It's been a while.
It has been
Yes,
quite
been so
a little
long.
bit of time. Thank you for joining us. We've taken a bit of a break, but due to
Understandable.
for good reason.
I think that the world ending is, a
a
reasonable excuse to halt production for
Correct.
a while.
Yeah.
Global pandemics will do that to a podcast. So thank you for joining us. To my left is the Rosman,
What's up?
and to my right is Adam.
Oh, thank you. Boy.
Yeah.
I can feel that you didn't shit on me in the intro, so I feel like it's like, oh man, he was nice to me.
It was.
We're feeling the love today.
This is a different kind of podcast we're doing.
This is a change in tone and scene.
That's great.
I was thinking about it. I was like, what should I say? What shitty thing should I say about Adam?
So nice. I feel the love.
So as we've kind of alluded to, this is obviously our first cast back since pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Well, actually, our first was on the cusp of the pandemic. It had just started. Things were starting to look a little dicey at that point.
Well, we were talking about it. We were talking about it as a thing that was happening.
That was
We were
happening and was
talking
going
about
to
it,
impact
and Adam-
E3 and all that jazz.
Adam called that this was going to be that E3 was going to be cancelled this year,
I mean,
and lo and
the
behold,
E3
a few
killer.
days later,
Yep.
The E3 killer.
I mean, yeah, I was like, and everyone was like, I think Cole's like, this is bold. And then I even saw like articles later saying like, that actually said, I think E3 E3 is dead
going out
forever.
the
And I
door.
was like,
Yeah, I saw a few people
Called
post
it,
a
baby. Called
similar
it.
thing. Just go, yeah. After this, the E3 probably won't happen anymore. It was like, hey,
I was like, what did I say?
you heard it here first. Okay, so as to kind of set the scene a little bit, as this is our first cast back from an extended period and an understandably difficult period for a lot of people. Our plan is to kind of just talk about ourselves a little bit of self-love, and kind of go into a little bit of detail on how we've been managing, how we've been coping, the things that we've been doing individually and collectively, because there has been a little bit of collective coping, I suppose, and kind of share that with you in the hopes that we can give you a little bit of insight on ourselves, but also hopefully give you guys some information and things that you could try out and hopefully help you guys out in these trying times. And we feel that it would be somewhat rude or amiss of us to not touch on the most prominent topic in the current news cycles of the protests and riots and Black Lives Matter movement. So our intention is to touch on that somewhat lightly, because there's a lot of information, there's a lot of context, a lot of kind of insight that's needed to really talk in depth. And while we may have some insight and obviously a lot of opinion, we don't feel it's our place to really try to sway people's opinions one way or another, or really delve into a lot of detail about the different nuances of it. So we'll touch on it lightly. We'll focus on how it's impacted us personally. But beyond that, we won't really get into any real detail. We do have our Discord channel up and running where the conversations have already been going for some time. So please feel free to jump into that. Check it out. We would love to hear your opinion. If you have personal stories, if you have more information, that will definitely go a long way to help inform other people as well as ourselves. But yeah, just wanted to make it clear that from our perspective, we do want to keep it somewhat light on.
Yeah. I think it is important to note that we obviously do kind of recognize that globally there's been like a massive amount of issues around, and and this topic and this conversation is like, it is really important. And I think we can all safely say here that we all do believe Black Lives Matter. That is something that we completely believe and agree in. Make that very crystal clear. But also from a domestic issue from our point as from Australians as well, is that Indigenous lives also matter, and that's something that and it's difficult to kind of talk about a lot of stuff, and I feel like, from my perspective anyway, that the best thing I can do is just listen to a lot of the stories and listen to what's going on and educate myself, and try to be as open as possible in these discussions, because like I'm very well aware of who I am and what and the privileges I've been afforded. And you hear stories where like I've heard a lot of stories last week that have been like it's funny because like I just don't even I don't think that way, and I don't think that way because I haven't needed to think that way. I haven't had to think about like, hey, like, you know, I'm like the easiest parallels reading stories in the US, and people like scared to like leave their homes or go for a walk down the street because the color of their skin, like, and then that's something that, you know, like people tell you and you go, oh, okay, like that's terrible. That sounds terrible.
But you can't ever really comprehend it.
Yeah, it's so hard to think like you've never for a moment, like I've never for a moment considered like that, stepping out of my house or seeing like someone roll like in a traffic stop, like a cop pull you over just to, you know, as like a random check, a RBT or like whatever,
how
and then
often
being
do you
like,
get pulled over?
Yeah, like
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly, and like even that idea of being like, oh, like I really haven't experienced any of that.
Yeah.
So in the best way, and that's why like I didn't want to spend like personally, I feel that would be disingenuous of me to stand up and talk about how my opinions and beliefs, and I'm like, well, I don't really know that much.
Yeah.
Like I might think I do, then you hear a story, and you're like, fuck, I know nothing.
Yeah.
Like I really know nothing.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, maybe that's a little harsh. We know we have opinions and beliefs, but I think the core is that perhaps they don't matter as much as the people that are actually affected by it.
yeah, I think it's important. To
Okay,
listen.
I think we're already kind of getting into it a little bit
too much. Yeah. I know it's hard. It's hard not to.
But and we'll definitely talk more about it, and I have a few points to kind of add to your statements there. But we'll get into that a little bit later. So we'll kind of just get our segment of this cast going a little bit first, and really just see how we've been doing. I mean, Carl, what's been happening with you, man?
There's not really that much to say, considering I live like a hermit a lot of the time anyway.
My life
nothing
is the
has
same.
Nothing has changed.
It's not exactly the same. I actually just before the lockdown like really kicked off, I moved back in with my family.
Oh, right.
Just because we could see it coming, and neither of us wanted to really live alone at that time. No, but really, not much has it's been a bit. The worst part of it is you don't really, even though I don't go out maybe as much as some people, I don't. It's like when you can't, you feel it a lot.
You
more.
feel it more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that you got sick pretty early on, like
I did. I did. Like the as it was just kicking off, I got sick and
Really sick.
a little bit of a scare there.
Really sick. Symptoms, not really what you would expect, but in the ballpark.
Yeah.
So
Enough that the doctors were like,
that they wanted
"We
to
need
test me.
you."
Yeah. And that was like early on, so it was all super chaotic. No one knew what the hell was going on. No one knew what the hell was going on.
It was early on enough that, like right now, one of my friends is a doctor, and being in the medical industry, she's more exposed than what most people are.
Yeah.
She's gotten tested twice now, just because working. Oh, feeling a little sick. Time to go get tested. Now they get results within 24 hours. When you or 24 to 72 or something.
You were like
you were waiting for like a week or something, right?
Yeah, like isolate.
Yeah, and that is basically, I think, the experience that most people had early on
exactly.
before, because there weren't many tests, there weren't any processes, nobody knew what was happening.
Yeah.
Turnaround was really slow.
Well,
it was just a mess. The surgery that I went to see the doctor originally didn't really help me out very much.
Well, you called, right? And then they said, oh, well, I guess that if we haven't contacted you back, you probably don't have it. And you're like, fucking answer
just
is that?
contact me.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Why is it so hard to call me?
Yeah, and then when I called back the next week, the doctor that I saw was taking some days off, and it was
really good.
It wasn't a great experience.
Yeah.
For me, but that's okay because
Yeah,
I
you're
didn't
here now.
have it.
You're here now. You're still good. I think one of the things that I've noticed, or one of the things that's just been like one of the most fascinating things for me regarding this whole pandemic is just how unbelievably unprepared everybody was for it. Like, you can't exactly expect it. You can't always be on edge and going, oh shit, something may happen. Let's prepare. You can't prepare for everything.
That's how you end up with 1,000 tins of beans in your garage.
Yeah,
you know,
always ready.
You know,
so
like a bunch of fuel in your garage. You know, trailer ready to go with a shotgun inside.
So it was, but I'm not even talking about the individual doomsday preppers sort of a situation. I'm talking about like governments and whole countries just going, holy shit, what do we do right now? And that was very much the situation here. That was very much the situation the world over, in even thinking about work. And it was just like, everybody, you guys need to go work from home, or we can kind of have some people in, kind of not. And just trying to manage people's day-to-day lives.
That bit me
literally everybody was just going, we don't know, let's just try something. Like, obviously there was some information and some thought put into what people implemented.
You know, that bit me as well. So I don't want to name any names, but I think we've said on this show that we work as software consultants. Or
Correct.
at least myself and Adam do at the moment.
We're all in IT.
IT. So I'm out on a client site, and again, I'm not won't name any names, but I had been just using my standard work laptop for that time. And then when it's like, we're going to work from home, I needed to get one of their laptops in order to actually be able to get on the VPN properly, so that I could actually do that. So I actually had to stick it out in their office for another 2 weeks.
But you're like, this is unacceptable. Realistically, for a public health crisis, that's
unacceptable.
I started being a very naughty boy and driving to work rather than take public transport, just because I didn't want to take the risk.
Yeah, well, I think that was okay as well, because even like council-wise or government-wise, they recognize that a little bit, because I know for a period of time, the parking in the city became free.
Yeah.
They were just like,
really,
public transport is not a viable option right now.
Fortunately, Leah also drove in because she was in a job. My wife, she could not work from the office from home. From home, she can now, but at the time she couldn't, because they're largely paper based, and they're like, we don't know how to do this.
We don't know how to use computers.
Yeah, computers. What are they? So there's this newfangled boxes with blinking lights.
So she drove in to the office and got a parking ticket.
Yeah,
and we appealed it, and then they're like, no, you got to pay it. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. It took them a while to realize that
we can afford a parking ticket, but like there's
people that just couldn't.
Like I was like, come on, this is a joke.
Yeah,
like
I suppose the other thing is we've been all very fortunate in that our jobs
have been
secure.
We've been really lucky.
Yeah.
Mind you, just for anybody listening, the free parking in the city is no longer applicable.
No, you will get.
Do not park in the city. Don't drive into the city. That was a short period of time.
A very long time.
Do not pass the harbour bridge. Do not collect $200.
Or do not pay $200.
Yeah. No, you will pay $200.
No, you'll pay. It was more like $400, isn't it?
It can be ridiculous. But to that point as well, though, to the point of that the challenge of getting into work and things like that. One thing that came up in a discussion that myself, Adam, and Leo were having recently was we were talking about giving blood. So I went and donated plasma, and Leah did, I think the day before I did, and she was talking to the nurse and mentioned that, I mentioned that, it was super easy for me to get in. I caught the train and there was no one on the train. So I was like perfectly comfortable, got in, got out, no problem. And then Leah's point was just like, that it's actually really cool because the people staying at home and the restrictions and everything like that is actually working, because it means the nurse that needed to go into work,
she was on a train
by herself. She was able
to
go on the train and feel comfortable. Because if there was 50 people in the carriage, then she'll be like, I don't want to go into work. But those essential workers that need to get in and don't have a means other than public transport.
When people are getting sick and need blood like that,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I mean, this is a respiratory condition, but there's a lot of people sick right now, and you know, being able to, you know,
have that comfort to still go to your job.
Yep.
is one of the key reasons why it's like, hey guys, remember, just stay home. It's important. Mind you, our restrictions are reducing, but it's still very much a thing in flight.
So let me ask you two a question. If what's happening now sort of becomes a new normal and we work from home forever, would you be okay with it?
yes.
I would be, in the sense of the flexibility of I can go into the office and I can work from home. So my job is somewhat different to both of you guys.
Yep.
And
We
requires more people interaction. And doing that online is more challenging. It's very doable. Like we've been doing it for the last 2-3 months with no real issues per se. But having conversations and having interactions face to face is so significantly better. When this started, I was like, prior to the pandemic, I hated working from home. Like, I would go, hey, I'm gonna work from home, and then do
nothing.
shit.
You'd be like, I'm playing Xbox, Adam, and I'm like, what are you doing?
I'll be like, lunchtime. All right, gonna eat a little bit, and I'll play a little bit of Xbox. An hour and a half later, okay, I should get back to work. But
I should get back to work, but
maybe one more round.
Like, I'd still do my work, but I'd just be so distracted,
Yeah.
so unproductive. Like, working from home just did not make sense for me. So I would go into the office all the time. I'd avoid working from home, and I would only work from home if I had to.
And that's why I asked you guys, because I actually feel the same, and like I think I've gotten a bit better at it.
Oh, I've gotten much better.
While I've been on, while I've been working from home,
So-
I don't know. I think I'd miss the social interaction from having an office.
I need that. Having said that, though, I basically did a 180 in the working from home in that productivity piece, because after a week of forced working from home,
just get used to it.
I got used to it to the extent that I was probably working longer hours, and I think we've touched on this. Is like, you get so caught up in your work that you forget that you're at home, or like you lose that delineation between the home and work, to the point where there's been a couple of times where I'll be working away and then it'll be like 4 p.m. I was like, I'll look up and like, oh shit, I didn't take a lunch break, or I'll keep working till like 6:30 and I'm just like, wait, I need to stop. Like, you just get so caught up with it because you're in that one space. Normally it's like, okay, I need to wake up at this time, get ready, drive into work or catch the train into work, get to work, do your work. Hey, it's 12 o'clock, it's 12:30, 1 o'clock. I need to eat. You stop, you eat, you get back to work. Sometimes you eat at your desk, whatever the case.
You have much more of a structure of your day.
5 o'clock, time to go home. Or 5:30 or 6 o'clock, time to
get the hell out of here.
It's like, you get the hell out. Like, you're done. Some people do still have a bit of a challenge switching off after leaving, because they're still looking at emails and bits and pieces, but that was never an issue for me. That was never a problem. I leave work.
Never look at your emails after leaving work. That's my that's my policy.
I was very easy. Like, I'll still respond to Slack messages if someone messages me and asks a question or something like that. Yeah. But at no point do I get home and be worrying about
work.
Oh, I need to finish this thing, or I need to do that thing. Like, that was very easy and clear for me. But as soon as I started getting into the rhythm of working from home, that differentiation just went out the window. So it was a big change. So I'm very much used to it now, and I'm very productive now. But I absolutely would not want to stay 100% working from home.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like the idea. Like, I'm torn because there are a lot of really good things that have sort of happened because of people working from home. So like, there's a lot of.
I'm getting so much more sleep. I've never felt like literally more rested or more alert.
Absolutely.
Ever.
There's that.
actually
There's that.
sleeping well.
Everyone gets, like, none of us have particularly savage commutes, but but that's still a fair whack of time that we're getting back.
A good chunk
Still
of time.
to say nothing of.
I'm pretty close to my job, and it's still 45 minutes door to door.
Yeah, exactly.
40 minutes door to door.
To
That's
say
still like at least
to say
an hour
nothing
and a
of the
half
people
my
that are
life.
coming in from
Like
like
west
Penrith, Blue Mountain,
And they're getting
Central Coast,
two
and they're getting
3
4 hours of their
4
life
hours
back.
a day of their life.
day.
Absolutely.
One of my workmates works from Central Coast, and he's just like,
This is amazing.
4 hours a day of my life back.
It's like I'm never going back.
Me again.
I'm never going back.
You're not seeing
I
me
am
again.
never
Adam.
stepping foot in that office.
And also with that, the added benefits of less congestion on public transport,
Correct.
on the roads.
Correct.
But so is that going to be like a fair trade-off for? I think what might happen is we might go back to a situation where people do some days at work and some days at home.
I can imagine probably like if I would be like I've said as a joke, but like also
It's a joke, but seriously.
But
seriously.
I would only come in to if I could do it. I would only come into the office on Fridays.
Yeah.
Because then I would be able to. I'd have my work day, and then you'd have your socialization with all my friends in the office, and you hang out with people, and you increase your social interaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I found that's been like that has been for me personally. I never really thought of myself as a social person. Like I was like, yeah, exactly. And then that's the reaction. So like I was like, you know what? I'm more than happy. I don't feel like I'm very extroverted around. Like I don't need to be like I recharge at home by myself. I'm totally fine being by myself, doing my own thing. I don't need people around all the time. But like and I just assumed that's fine. And then just because you're an introvert and you don't need people around all the time doesn't necessarily mean that you want to be alone forever. Well, that's the thing. And sometimes there's been moments where it's been like I've been fine. I've been working from home, doing my thing, whatever. And then sometimes I'm like, man, I would just really like this weekend if I went out and saw my mum and dad, saw my brother, seen any of my friends. And at that point it was just like, can't.
And that sort of leads back
and just like.
And that, I guess, sort of leads into the other point that I wanted to cover about how I've been coping in the coronavirus is, I think, having our Discord and the ability to talk to people whilst gaming has been also really helpful.
That's been massive
and in fact, in addition to that, I took up World of Warcraft again so that I could play an MMO where I actually had a guild.
Yeah. He joined World of Warcraft with the social interaction.
God, that's
unbelievable.
That sounds terrible, but
No,
I know a bunch of people from not just from playing, but I know a bunch of people from my real life friends that are still playing the game.
Yeah. So hey, I'll come and join in. We can hang out.
That is absolutely fantastic. I think CK even just took it back up as well.
Did he?
I would say honestly, that's one of the things I'm most grateful for with regards to the gaming industry is that it has given so many people that opportunity to still be
have a way of connecting with people.
Connect, like or even if it's not necessarily connections, distractions.
Yeah,
it's giving people the means to just escape.
Yeah,
means to just be like, well, things are shit right now, but I'm happy in freaking Skyrim.
so we might.
I'm happy in Skyrim.
So we might.
Oh my god.
We might save this for next podcast. But after coming back to it, sort of at the end of the current expansion cycle, man, there's a big let's shit on Activision Blizzard for their game design that I want to go into for this because. Hopefully they'll do it better next time because the current expansion has some issues.
It's just bad. It's just bad. To kind of pull the conversation back to personal perspectives. Yeah. For me, like I mentioned that one of the things that I'm most grateful for within the great games industry is just that ability to connect. And you mentioned that we've got our Discord going on. Yeah. It's allowing us to keep in touch, having us have conversations. One of the best things for me has been just our like Friday night games night.
Yeah.
Where we just be like, hey, let's set up Ultimate Chicken Horse.
We've done it a few times and it's been really fun.
It's been fantastic.
That game has had legs. it's a true treasure.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. And like we've even had people and like even that we had like so a good example, Ultimate Chicken Horse 4-player game. We had a lot of fun. And then we had a whole bunch of people turn up and we're like, oh, we've got 5 people.
Yeah.
Or how many people? And then what we started doing is like we were rotating people in and out. Yeah. But the thing is, everyone could still be in the chat, and because one person was live streaming, if you weren't playing the game, you could watch it. You could go pop into Discord and be in the chat, talk to people and see the game of 4 idiots playing at the same
that's
time,
a-
and
that's a
everyone
really good
rotating
point,
in and
yeah.
out, and it was just like a really nice community experience
like,
and just having
we-
fun together.
Exactly.
And
I'd
it
just
was
like
great.
to shout,
even
I'd
if
like
you
to
weren't
shout
playing.
out Discord's new streaming feature.
It's fucking
It's
great.
it's
It's
absolutely brain
amazing.
dead. You just push the button and it goes,
And off
and
you go.
you don't have to
And
think
it's just
about
there.
it.
And
it just does it.
anybody that wants to watch
You don't
just jumps into the channel.
You don't have to fuck around with codecs or OBS
Yeah.
or,
I mean,
or mixers or any of that bullshit. You just push the button and it happens.
It perfectly works because it's not a broadcast system.
Yeah.
It's not a system where you get famous like you would on Twitch or YouTube Gaming or anything like that, where it's much more like the personality streaming and then the audience watching. This is much more a collaboration tool of being like, hey, we're doing this, and like we've used this. We've been using like Microsoft Teams in our office, but that's because that's office software. But we've been doing that, but we've run it through Discord in our gaming circles, for like running remote versions of the Jackbox series, and stuff like that. So it's much more collaborative of being like, it's almost like screen sharing and being like, hey, check it out. There's much less latency because there's there's not like broadcast where you need moderation. There has to be a delay for moderating an unknown audience.
Yeah.
Where this is like, we know
Hey,
everyone.
this is a group of friends.
We're in a Discord
Get in
together.
here.
We know each other.
Yeah.
We just want to share stuff quickly and be able to play remotely with each other. And people that can't join in the game, they can look and see what's going on. Like, and it was just a really fun experience. And we've done that a few times, and it's been
So if
it's
you're
been really
in
good.
our Discord, keep an eye out in the general channel because we'll post hopefully as ahead of time as we have, if it's not just a spur of the moment thing, when we're going to set something up. And just come along and check it out, hang out.
I'd also say to anyone in our Discord as well. Is that that is also open to them. If they want to, they want to join up and then put in the general, be like, hey, I'm playing this game. I'm going to play this game because we've got a whole bunch of like voice channels that are just open for people to use to hang out. Which I've noticed, like
a few people have been using.
They've been being used. Which, like, personally, I'm very thankful that like we have that as kind of a community that we can all hang out and talk. We've been talking about how we've been going, talking about things in the news that people want to get off their chest and talk about, because it's been pretty difficult for a lot of people. And that service has been there, and we've been able to kind of stay together while we've been doing this. So that's been really a really useful tool, I think. And also just for the fun stuff as well. Being able to hang out.
Honestly, Discord has been
Play
fantastic
games.
for us. Like, we've been using it for years now. We've been running our D&D through Discord and Roll20. But it's just been such a fantastic tool for us collectively. And
it's been amazing.
And again, this pandemic kind of kicked a lot of things into gear as well. So a lot of companies, like Discord as an example, they're like, hey, by the way, you guys are all from working from home, or you're all doing your interactions from home. We're making the service better. We're boosting the back end of it so that it can manage more or handle more traffic.
They've been absolute troopers.
I'm not sure how many businesses took them up on that, but it's even that it's been helpful for communities.
So my point being, like, I know that Microsoft Teams lifted their games significantly.
Well, because Zoom came out and they're like, oh shit, people need.
Well, no, but Zoom's been out for years. Zoom's been out.
But they sort of took the initiative.
Yeah.
When the pandemic happened, Teams were like, well, we got to do something.
We got to do right. Yeah. So it's just like, and even within Australia, where they're like, hey, by the way, everybody's working from home. Your internet's probably not the best. By the way, NBN is now allowing, like, even NBN was
throughput.
Yeah, like they lifted the
I was
throughput.
like...
It's like, so you mean you could have done that all this time?
We've been complaining about our fucking shit speeds for how many months? Years? It's years, isn't it?
They're just like, and switch this
and they're
button.
like, you motherfuckers.
So
it's almost like the project was intentionally handicapped from the start.
So,
yes.
so it's been interesting.
What an astute observation, Carl.
So for me that I know we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but for me that ability to still interact, that ability to still just hang out and talk shit and share memes with everybody has been crucial in in keeping
Yeah.
my sanity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our D&D nights that we were having, those like the random game nights that we've been having, just out hanging out and chatting. And obviously, as soon as restrictions started to reduce, being able to come in and have it in this podcast.
Yeah.
Being able to come in and play some board games together. So
that's been
we
really
went
good
down to
as well.
CK's place a little bit, and we played the Harry Potter Defense of Hogwarts, which was
It's a really good
fantastic
game.
fun.
It's a really good game.
We started playing last week. Adam, Lee, and I started playing the
Game of Risk.
the Game of Risk, the
Game of Thrones
edition, which is also
Which
fantastic.
has been pretty fun.
Concern for your friendships.
No, it
Nah, it's
is
actually fine.
I do think Leah's getting the shits.
Nah, she just got mobbed immediately.
Adam and I were just like, we can't let her get a stronghold of the North. Let's make sure we don't let that happen.
It's kind of more of a bit of a board game review, but it's been a really interesting game because like
And then someone in our Discord was like, "Let's play diplomacy." No,
I'm down to play diplomacy.
we will not be friends after that. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is a risk I am willing to take.
I really want to play diplomacy.
You'll know that, so you'll know that we've actually gone and played it because there won't be any more podcasts after that.
Say, no. You'll know we're not actually playing it when after like 6 podcasts you'll be like, where's Carl? Haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, it's funny.
He died of a knife wound to the back.
Official statement from APOS. We apologize to inform our loyal viewers that Carl will no longer be part of the APOS crew.
But yeah.
His deepest condolences.
But seriously, fuck him.
No, but in all honesty, I think to your earlier point, Adam, then to your point as well, Carl, where you're just like, yeah, not too much has changed for you guys. You're fairly introverted, or you kind of just generally like your own space and do your own thing. I wouldn't say I'm the opposite, but I'm very much a people person.
Yeah,
I'm very much I'm talking to someone and hanging out with someone and catching up with someone. Just doing things with people. I'm very much a thicker things with a group of 20 people, and I'll be having the time of my life. I did in February. I know we've mentioned this before. I did the Kilimanjaro trek.
Yeah,
and that was the most amazing experience in my life because there was a group of 10 of us, and we were just shit talking the entire time and just having such a fantastic time. If I had done that with just me and a guide, I would have hated the shit out of that.
Yeah, like it would have been quietly walking for 10 days.
It would have been the worst experience of my life. But because there was a group of 10 people, I loved it. So I think the isolation has been a little bit more challenging for me, but I think I've coped amazingly simply because I've been so fortunate to have the means to still interact and hang out with you guys, and to have you guys available there to even just have casual shit talky conversations with. So it's been testing.
Did you have any trouble getting back into the country after that?
No, it was lucky, and
it was right
me and
this
group we've said this so many times, like, holy shit, how lucky are we that we were able to fly out, do this thing, fly back in, and then everyone just like, and no more. Cut, borders closed. So literally, like, I think I did it mid-Feb. Flew out like 15th of Feb, got back like 23rd of Feb or 24th of Feb or something like that.
Because you had to go into isolation though, didn't you?
No.
Oh, you didn't?
No, not at all.
This is before
this was
everything
just
happened.
before everyone was just like, well, shit.
Shit's gone nuts.
So even on the way back, they were checking temperatures. So it was already a thing. And they were already being mindful of it. All the flight attendants were wearing the masks and everything like that. Yeah. So it was definitely a thing. It just hadn't blown up to the point where it was just like, okay, no, let's just stop people. So we were so very lucky. But yeah, so for me, it has definitely been a bit of a challenge. But I think, like we said before, lucky that we still have a job and a good source of income. and B, we have the technology, we have the means to really still interact with each other and keep our social sanity.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, that's been really important.
I still haven't been able to rebuild my PC.
It's still,
Yeah.
well, all the parts. If you order parts online,
Yeah,
it's gonna
exactly.
take
Yeah,
months.
I don't want to order parts.
I
at the
ordered a
moment.
comic book and it still hasn't gotten here like a
Yeah.
month and a half
ordered-
later, and I'm like, where is it?
I ordered.
Where?
It was the funniest thing. I ordered. Remember, I
my
showed
God.
Adam. I showed you
Yeah.
maybe 2 months ago now. I ordered a Dragon Ball Z hoodie.
Oh yeah.
It's not even been shipped.
Oh really?
But then I looked it up and I was like, it was coming from a shop in the US. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They have extenuating circumstances.
But having said that, it was before everything going on now that I ordered it. But I was still like, like
Maybe it
a
might
lot
take
of
longer.
like shipping and freighting and all of that would still have been heavily impacted.
Yeah.
but yeah, it was just talking about border closures. Sorry, suddenly made that pop into my mind. Like even if I wasn't content to wait, now I probably would have been able to scrape something together, but it wouldn't have been what I
What
wanted.
you wanted. Correct.
And it would have been ridiculously overpriced.
Yeah.
Like a friend of mine bought a pre-built PC last year, and we looked it up. We were talking about it the other day, and we looked up the price of it, and it's gone up by $1,000.
Oh
Wow.
really?
The same model.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
But it's such a bizarre world because like talking about the shipping and freighting and online shopping and everything.
That's $1,000.
Like that.
That's $1,000 Australian
Australian.
dollars, by the way, which is about $2 US.
But just talking
Slight
about
bump.
money and all of that jazz as well. It is so bizarre, the world that we live in, the fact that so many people are losing their jobs, so many people losing income, so many people just having such a hard time because of this pandemic. And then you have old mate Jeff about to become a trillionaire because of it.
Yeah.
It is
There's
so insane.
There's been a lot of articles written that the richest people
Are getting richer.
Are getting richer because of this, which
It-
I'm like, great. It's awesome.
It
Yep.
is such
System
a
works, huh?
ridiculous-
System really works.
Well, it was a
Works
system
best.
built by the rich for the
For
rich.
the
so of
rich,
course
and then
it
when
works.
shit happens to everyone, then the
It
rich
is-
get richer.
It is
It's fine.
doing exactly what they wanted
Yeah,
to do.
the system works perfectly. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Oh, but that it just
Yeah.
blows my mind.
Crazy.
We're getting political again.
Okay, we did say we were going to focus on us, but I think just on the topic of the US and on the topic of Jeff, with everything going on, I think this is a good point for us to kind of get into or get a little bit more into the current climate, specifically within the US, but obviously around the world as well.
Well, it
So
just
we
makes
can-
me really sad, to be honest.
yeah.
It's like-
Well, just
What?
to start it off, my point that I made very early on, once the initial riots began,
yeah.
and 100% Carl, like it has been just a like heart wrenching, like just a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Like when I first saw the video, like because initially I heard about the video of George Floyd, and I was like, oh, like I wasn't sure I wanted to see it.
I can't believe they broadcast that shit on news.
And
Like they put it on ABC News, and I'm like, oh god, that's we just watched a man die.
so,
God.
so
Yeah.
initially I didn't want to see it, and
Yeah.
then eventually I was just on Instagram and bits and pieces. Eventually it came up and I watched it, and like no joke, I was close to tears. No matter how many times I watched it, it was just devastating to see.
Yeah.
And for 2-3 days, like it was just all you were hearing about, and completely reasonably so.
Yeah.
And it was just hard to watch and hear about and see, and it just kept going, and then very quickly escalated to kind of what we're seeing now with state after state protesting and rioting. A lot of peaceful protests, but a lot of riots as well.
Yeah.
One of the first things that first points that I kind of formed around it was, and I think I mentioned this on our Discord, was like I was disappointed and upset that A, that it happened, but B, that I was unhappy because rioting means people are gonna get hurt. Rioting means businesses are gonna get destroyed. Rioting means that just shit is gonna get damaged.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that that's the case.
Yeah.
But I'm also very thankful that something is happening. Like, it's gotten to the point where shit needs to change.
Yeah.
And if years and decades of just speaking out and peaceful protests and all of that hasn't done anything, then eventually it has to get to this point, to this point that they're at now. Like, if George Floyd's death hadn't triggered it, it might have happened in another couple of years or another couple of years or just some way down the line.
Yeah.
But eventually people were just going to be like, we can't put up with this shit anymore. And so in my mind, I was like so torn to be like, I don't like seeing people's lives destroyed as they are, but I know this needs to happen.
But yeah, like I remember, like, I think this has been such an extreme response because of a number of reasons. Because of coronavirus, everyone's been, under lockdown and feeling the pressure economically. People are worried about their own lives, financially, as well, and like just being like, how am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to buy groceries? How am I going to provide the bare essentials to live?
Yeah.
And now a large population is facing the very stark reality that might not even matter because they could just get murdered in the street anyway.
Yeah.
To compare George Floyd with what happened to Eric Garner in 2014, it's like identical, and that's what kicked off the Black Lives Matter movement, like formed that movement, and all of this stuff just kept happening, and it's like the same. And I think people just got to the point, you're like, we've done peaceful protests, we've done all this, and people. And then brands on Twitter say, "Oh, we're for Black Lives Matter," but what happened? Like what happens?
What changed?
Then it peters out, and no one
does anything.
And those activists, and I'm not saying those activists stopped caring. Those people kept going, but people stopped listening.
Yeah,
like the people in power just stopped listening, and then you don't want to hear rioting happening, but at the same time you're like, well, people are fucking angry. Because they're not getting listened to, and they've tried saying it for how many fucking years? And now they're breaking shit.
I think that's
maybe listen.
I think that's I think I agree with that take. My hot take was going to be as an outside observer, having the activists having done the right thing for many years, trying to do things peacefully through demonstrations, through activism campaigns and that sort of thing, having absolutely no effect, and perhaps even things getting worse. I think a boil over like this was inevitable. Because having tried to do it the right way and having seen absolutely no results, at some point people are forced to conclude that the right way does not work. I think we can safely condemn the act of rioting and looting and property destruction, but I think to make that the focus
of what's going
missing
on.
the point completely.
And that's what people who are trying to shut this conversation down.
And
that's why they're focusing on it.
Because they have
they have a vested interest in getting people to shut the fuck up.
To really bring it back to how we were saying we're going to approach this, and saying how it's impacted us from our personal perspective and how our views on matters, and without going into too much detail. The one thing that I have been, I guess, that has been quite positive in regards to this has just been the global response beyond that. Yeah. So while in the States there has been all of that rioting and looting, and in any situation you're going to have people arguing on both sides to say the people rioting and looting are wrong and they're doing bad, and this shouldn't be the case, all lives matter, like all that, those sorts of points that people are trying to use to put what's going on in a bad light. The global, and at least from my perspective and my view, the global response and the global reaction to this has been overwhelmingly positive in saying, yeah, this is absolutely right. Like, what has been happening to these people is completely wrong. And there's just been so much support. There's been from individuals, from celebrities, from companies. And I know in our Discord, we've kind of said a lot of the time the company's input has been lip service.
I think in that case, on that specific point, it depends.
Yeah, it absolutely depends.
Like putting out a Twitter post that just says Black Lives Matter and then following it up with nothing is absolutely just paying lip service and, you know, just trying to market yourself as being on the right side of the issue.
And honestly, I personally don't care. Like, companies can just come out and go Black Lives Matter and leave it alone, and I'll be like, good for you. Whatever.
Yeah. Like Activision Blizzard did that, and people rightfully called them out for being complete hypocrites.
What are you talking about? You literally shut down all conversation about like China. Like they're like, we're taking a stand against racism, Black Lives Matter. I'm like, where was this comment when you're like censoring
when you guys were the problem
people against China because you have money to be made?
Yeah.
Like, you know.
In a lot of cases, it's easy for them to take a stand when it won't hurt their bottom line.
Correct.
So, but I don't want to tar all corporations with
eat Ben & Jerry's, everyone. Holy shit.
Yeah.
They got arrested and they were like, fuck it. They were like going nuts. So,
And even a level down, a lot of other places have been making, you know, not insignificant donations. So there is a range of responses out there, and I think we should give credit where it's due.
Absolutely. And that's my point, right? There's a lot of people doing a lot, and there's a lot of people actively looking for how they can help, and there's a lot of information out there. So it has been heartwarming. So like I was saying, the whole event has just been such a downer, but it has been so heartwarming to just see the global response. Like, so many people are like, how can I help? What can I do? So many people going along to rallies, and so many people going along to peaceful protests, like around the world. Like this, I saw an infographic that was just like, all 50 states protested.
Yeah.
And they're like, someone made a joke about it, just like, when have you ever seen all 50 states
protest something?
Get behind one thing?
Yeah, never.
And then, so it started out in the US, but then pretty much every other major city had their own protests. Like, there were huge ones in Canada because like of the issues that they've had.
Yeah.
And then even yesterday, to date this cast a little bit, in Sydney there was one that went ahead yesterday.
Well, they were all across Australia yesterday.
And
on the 6th of whatever hell month it is.
We should get time now.
We've been inside a long time.
It's been a while. But it has been such an amazing thing to see, and what I'm hopeful for, and what I think is the case, is that it's not going to suddenly lose momentum. Like, it's built up a lot, and it continues to drive. Like, at no point, I feel like this won't disappear this time. I'm hopeful that this won't disappear this time until certain changes are put in place. So, to your earlier point, from an Australian perspective, the what's it called? The protests have been more obviously focused on Indigenous Australians, because Australia has a pretty horrible history when it comes to that space.
Yep.
It's not great.
So there's a lot that Australia can do around all of this, and I am very hopeful that that's going to be the case. Whether it's in Australia, whether it's in the US, wherever it may be around the world where racism continues to prevail, I am very hopeful that this will trigger some action. And
I think it's not just the racism angle. I mean, obviously the racism angle is the more important one, but I think there's also an intersecting issue here about the role of police in society.
Correct.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, the role of police in US society is very different to the role of police in Australian society.
Correct.
As well.
That's right.
Having said that, though, like, you know, we've seen before, like, you know, the police still have and this varies state to state as well. But the police generally in every state what I would say that's a pretty easy statement to make. Every state, they have things that they need to improve and work on. Like, it's very, and, you know, and people are like, oh, you know, but they're doing their best job. And I'm like, well, they are trained professionals, and it's their job, and it's their job to keep doing it.
Correct.
And they need to do better.
Correct.
Like, that's just like...
Yeah, exactly. And if you
we hold them to a high standard. Accordingly, they have guns.
Rightly so.
They have guns.
Rightly
They
so.
need to be held to a high standard.
Yeah,
Like,
there is
that's
no
just-
if there is no profession in the world, policing or otherwise, where people shouldn't be held to the standard of that profession. And, you know,
Your job is to protect the citizenry.
Yeah.
And
Where-
not... And, like... And that is everyone. And that is not just like, oh, we're going to protect these people. Your job is to protect everyone.
Not
and you're going to be held to a standard.
Not
That's
just
it.
some people, not just the rich people, not just the white people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of to kind of wrap up my point is that I do think, and I am very hopeful, and I am very grateful for the overall response. Yes, there's been a lot of just negative responses to it. There's been a lot of just the opposite view.
Yeah.
But I think as a people, collectively, I think we're
There's definitely been...
going down the right track.
The clear outspoken voice here is that we need change.
Correct.
Which is... It is positive to hear that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
I now, yeah.
But it needs to keep... It needs to keep coming.
I don't know
otherwise
how confident I am of it actually translating into real change, at least in the US.
Who knows? Like, that's the thing. But the thing is, like, is to keep it going. And these protests, especially for the US, they're like, they're going into their second week of it. And they're saying, like, well, how long the police gonna be able to keep this up?
yeah.
Like,
Well,
and they're gonna, and if it keeps going and going and going, it's gonna have to be at some point. Someone is gonna have to say we have to stop, and and they have to acquiesce, and that's how it has happened through history. Like, through every major milestone, it's just been like beating the people in power into submission of being like, fine, we'll give you what you want.
Yeah.
Like,
So they have 5 months until the next presidential election. That is a long time to keep the anger rolling.
Yeah.
yeah, it is.
It's true. But
I mean, it's in
okay.
coronavirus. What else we got to do?
It's been a
my
while.
God.
It's been a wild year. It's like it's June this year.
It's June, everyone.
We're about halfway.
You're about halfway. So far we've had fire, floods, pestilence, and wide social unrest. So what's the rest of the year got in store for us?
Let's see what happens.
Death's coming. The
so
last one.
To kind of just be, jeez. God damn. Well, hey, he did predict the E3 shutdown. Who knows?
So coming soon to a pinch of salt near you. Death rides in on his pale horse.
Oh God. To kind of just wrap up the topic, and as
It's
much
so depressing.
like
We
we're
should
laughing,
laugh.
but
We
no,
need
no,
to. We
this
need
is
to laugh.
good.
We have
this
to
is
laugh
good,
about this
guys.
shit.
So it reminds me one other point I did want to make was just one of the things that has helped me cope with all of this,
Yeah.
pandemic, police brutality, racism, everything is just our ability to joke about things. And obviously there needs to be some tact, there needs to be some sensitivity around it. But the memes that have come out of so many things, I'm not even kidding. I'm like, it might sound ridiculous or disingenuous or whatever the case is. That has absolutely made my day a lot of the times. Like, my news feed has been nothing but depressing for the last week. And it's just like video after video or image after image of just some bullshit happening. And it just makes you so sad. And then every once in a while, like I have a group chat with my brothers, and every once in a while we'll just throw in a random meme in there. And it makes me happy. Yeah. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, and in our group chats as well, like in our Discord, just seeing
our shit posting channel has been great.
People
it's been really fun.
able to take such a negative and just downright shitty situation and still be able to provide each other a little bit of laughter and humor is fantastic. But I do want to reiterate the point of
we're not making fun of people. That's the important thing. We're not making fun of the people
an individual
being beaten or of the gravity of the situation.
Yeah.
But it is important though that we can
we can still
that we can find joy somewhere.
That we can,
somewhere.
That we
That
can
is
look
so
at how
important.
absurd things are
And be like,
and
this
be
is-
able to
and laugh
recognize
at
that.
and just laugh at the absurdity of the world that we live in at the moment.
Yeah.
So I am so very, very grateful for that, and I cannot tell the people that I care about enough how much I appreciate them individually, but also their involvement in my life and keeping me happy.
I appreciate you too, Ben.
So yeah, just wanted to I wanted to make that last point, but to kind of wrap up the conversation around this obviously very heavy topic is to our earlier point around this, to say we are three individuals that do not have the insight or the experience necessary. I am such a lucky person that my life has been extremely privileged individually compared to so many other people. Like I faced a little bit of racism myself, but nothing in comparison to what a lot of other people are facing. I have never feared for my life because of this color of, like, because I'm black. Like, living in Australia, I think I'm generally so lucky, and unfortunately somewhat significantly more lucky than the indigenous Australians.
Yeah.
Like,
I find that I've actually been thinking about that, of being like, it's so bizarre. And I was in a work call, and people, this is what we talk about now. But it's they're good conversations to have, though, of like in Australia, the difference between us and the US is that it's weirdly targeted. Like, because all of a sudden it's like black, but a special kind of black here. Like, it's like,
it's bizarre, right?
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
I mean,
So-
not to say that you haven't faced racism as well. Like people,
it has
people,
been.
we're also lucky that we're in a metropolitan city, which with more multiculturalism.
Yes.
Especially in the more rural parts of Australia, there are just like,
It's a different
different
story.
country.
and we've had friends, and not even like areas that like some of our friends have grown up in. We're not talking like the middle of Australia. We're not talking like the outback. We're talking like maybe 2.5, 3 hours drive out of Sydney.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden
It changes.
You do get
People's dynamic changes.
People's experience may vary.
Experience may vary.
Yes.
Living life.
I'm not saying,
may vary.
Australia solved... we have a problem with Indigenous people, but we solved racism.
like-
Like, we have not solved
It's so
racism.
far from it. So far from it. So it's very, like I was, to my point, very lucky in this regards. But and sorry, I've just remembered as well, for the last couple of years, like we've talked about this a little bit, and I'm pointing at Adam specifically because we've both had this feeling.
I was like, are you about to call me racist? Like, what's going on?
Remember that thing that you said a few years
Oh my
back?
god, am I being called out?
No,
We're getting cancelled, fuck.
No.
We're cancelling Adam on his own podcast.
No, my
my
point
God.
was going to be, say, shortly after uni,
Yeah.
after starting to work, one of the things that I considered was to move to the US.
I did too. Yeah, I did too.
And I was just like, like they have a good
Yeah.
tech industry, they have a good game industry. It will be good for me. I can go there for a year or two and
Both Ben and I
learn
had
an experience.
applications to US-based companies.
Jobs, like,
Really?
even recently.
There you go.
Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
I applied for Twitch.
Yeah.
And like in the
Man,
last
glad
couple,
that didn't
and, like,
I
just
feel like you guys dodged a literal bullet
Yeah.
by not
But-
getting those
but
jobs.
that's
To be
not-
fair, Ben,
not
to be
even
fair,
the
Carl,
joke.
I probably didn't. Let's
not
be
even,
real.
not even
Like-
a joke. Carl,
That's sad,
Carl,
that's
I am
true.
going to be genuinely honest now.
Yeah.
Like in the last little while, I'm just be like, holy shit! Like a genuine niggling fear in my mind has been, if I was to travel to the US, how would I respond to seeing a police officer, like in my vicinity?
Which is terrifying.
Like, I was like, do I need to be extra careful? Do I need to? So that simple fact that it has creeped into my mind now, whereas previously never even a consideration, just shows you how impactful everything that's been happening is. So I genuinely considered moving. Whether it was going to be for a year or two or permanently, probably doesn't matter. Now you probably could not pay me enough to go over there. Like, I'm
not
just
go
like,
to America.
I do not want to, like, be a part of that country. I feel so strongly for the people that live there
Yeah.
and are forced to be in that situation, and they've lived there for generations, so they just can't up and go.
Well, they feel like, and rightfully,
And
that
it's
it's
their
their
home.
country. I'm not fucking leaving.
It's their home. It's their country.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, get the hell out. Like, no.
That's how we'd feel if this was happening here. We would
Correct.
change the system. We wouldn't be like, oh, what country
Like,
can we run
where
to?
can I go?
I mean, to be honest, if you did want to do that, that's
That's
not your fault. Like, you fucking every right to be like, I'm getting the hell out of here.
Yeah.
But
so
some people don't have the money to relocate.
exactly,
To do that.
exactly. So kind of to just pull all of this back to my earlier point is that our experiences pales in comparison to what a lot of other people have experienced, have seen. And to Adam's earlier point is until you experience it yourself, no matter how much sympathy you try to give, you can never really understand.
Yeah.
So you can help, you can try to help, you can be an ally, you can assist, and you can do everything in your power to make things better. But it's also important to acknowledge that you simply can't experience what these people are experiencing. And to that point, our views on the matter is going to be somewhat skewed or somewhat lighter.
Or we
on
won't
the
have
topic.
all the facts.
We
Might
don't
get
have
stuff
all
wrong.
the facts, and we don't have all the information. So we can't be sitting here telling you these things. But what we can encourage you to do is look into it. We'll try to give some links in the description as to useful resources. But there's a lot. And obviously be careful as you would on the internet of misinformation and all of that. But there's information out there on how you as an individual can assist and how you as an individual can take part in all of these things. Obviously without putting yourself in danger, obviously without breaking the laws or anything like that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot that a lot of people can do.
I
And
think
we want to encourage. So to kind of wrap things up, it has been a pretty heavy cast for us.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, if you're still listening, obviously, thank you very much for listening to
I'll probably edit it down, but it's probably still going to be pretty long.
Our opinions on the matter and our views on the matter
Yeah.
and our experiences when it comes to the global pandemic and everything else going on.
Well, I thought a good way to maybe just round things out would be, what are you looking forward to in these troubled times that's going to give you joy in the next few weeks?
That is a good question.
I have a good answer.
Yeah.
Well, I've been, and this also kind of tails into me. So I have been pretty good, but there have been some days where I've been really struggling just with the news and what's been going on. And yesterday, like for the first time in ages, like I actually streamed a whole bunch. And that was just like a really fun. Like that was just a really fun experience, and like I specifically picked like the original Final Fantasy VII, and it's a bit of nostalgia, and it's just
Comfort
something.
gaming.
Yeah, and it's a comfort.
Yeah.
And the thing is, there's nothing wrong, with taking a break and being like, you know what, that's why nostalgia exists, right? You can go back and like watch your favorite TV show. Play your favorite video game and just kind of be able to be like, okay, I feel nice and safe here. And because the thing is, in a lot of what's happening, and we're going to be pushing further and doing more because we want to do the right thing. We want to learn about this. We want to continue to, be like good allies and stand up for what we believe in. But that takes energy, and people, and you need to consciously reflect on that and know that you have your own limits. That you don't have to be out on Twitter or Facebook every day. You don't have to be like the perfect soldier because that, like, you're going to burn out. And I felt that a few times.
Yeah.
So
like you always need to take care of yourself.
Going back and like, and I the only reason I streamed it was because I thought it would be nice, and a couple of people jumped in chat. I actually had like, a few people like viewing. We streamed for like 3 or so hours, and it was just like hanging out. And chat was sometimes asking questions, and sometimes just like watching and hanging out, and that was it. And it was just a nice thing to do and feel like connected, without being like pressured and being like, I can just do this, and it's not something. It's just a fun game We all play. Although, God,
How far did you get through it?
We should get a Smash stream going again.
I was honestly thinking we could do that like right after this.
Yeah.
So potentially, I mean, obviously, it's going to be different because it'll get
Not
released.
right after this.
Yeah.
It'll be after this,
right
after we're
us
recording
this.
But then you'll be like, oh yeah, they did stream. You'll know if we streamed or not. But yeah, like doing stuff like that, like it's just a fun way to hang out and to find points of community. And it's okay to let yourself for a moment not have to think about this stuff.
Correct.
And to not and to say, I'm gonna take a break and then get back to it.
Yeah.
Because you're not superhuman.
Yeah.
Mind if I jump in next?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So for me, and kind of feeds into how I've been helping keeping myself sane over the last little while, is I've actually been more active exercising in the last few months
not me
than I had previously. Like after getting back from my trip, I was like going to the gym and everything, but sporadically. But I thoroughly enjoy working out, so at no point do I stop. But after the trip, like prior to lockdown, I was just kind of going whenever I could. I'd be tired, so I wouldn't go, and so on and so forth. But come lockdown, where the gym's shut, I started working out on my apartment rooftop, and I've been working out so much more. Just like pretty much every day. Like
I've seen your Instagram posts. I'm like, nice.
Basically five times a week, effectively. Like I'd be working out. So I'll take a break and everything, but I've just been working out a lot more, and I feel significantly fitter than what I was previously. But what I am looking forward to is the gyms reopening in about a week.
Oh God, I want them so badly.
At least in New South Wales, anyway.
I want the gyms to be open so badly.
So I'm just like, I am very much looking forward to being able to lift heavy shit again, because I like my home workouts. I don't have weights, and there's no, and my little apartment wouldn't allow for me to have any sort of a weighted workout, or even the rooftop wouldn't allow for me to have any sort of a weighted workout. So it'll be good for me to get back into the gym.
Also, it's cold, so you working
it is
out
cold as balls
on the roof of your building is like so cold.
I work out like I have a hoodie on and everything like that. Start skipping, doing whatever, and get warm, and then I'm like, no, I'm gonna keep the hoodie on. No. Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. I don't really have that much in planned, although on the nostalgia angle, I'm kind of looking forward to digging into Command and Conquer Remastered.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah.
So that was a formative game for me. That and Warcraft 2. Warcraft 2's been available from Blizzard like the whole time, but Command and Conquer has been kind of difficult to run on modern machines. Yeah. So this remastered version
is going to be fantastic.
It's going to be good for not just for it's going to be good to be able to play it again, but it's also really good just for the preservation of what's a really important era of gaming, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, speaking of remasters, round 2 of Trials of Mana.
Round 2. I'll be up to round 3.
In your case, round 3.
I'll be up to round 3 by the time we finish.
I did finish it. I don't know whether I'd said I'd bought it yet once we started. Like, no, I think I bought it and finished it while in our podcast break.
In our little break.
Yeah, it's a good game.
I signed into...
It's a really good game, Ben. I know why it's fair. It's actually quite fun.
It is a fantastic game. I signed into my brother's Switch so that he could download it and play it on his Switch with my account.
It's a good game.
So, okay. I think this is a good point where we can wrap it up. As mentioned before, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for your patience and time with us. We will be providing a little bit more info in the description, so please feel to follow those links. Do your own research, please. And just get more information on what's going on around the world at the moment. But as per usual, we'd like to encourage you to jump onto our Discord as well. Jump into the conversations. We have so many channels talking about so many things. So even if you don't want to come in and talk about the going-ons in the world, you can jump in and talk about games. You can jump in and talk about pop culture. You can find... Our Discord is a fantastic space for distraction, but also for... like informed conversation.
Yeah.
So please feel free to join us. Any points or topics or games or anything that you want to talk about, feel free to bring it to light. We would love to hear it. And we would love to jump into a conversation with you. Next time we're doing our Let's Play streams, you're also welcome to join in on that action as well.
Yeah.
So I think we can wrap it up there. So thanks, guys, and we'll talk to you all later.
Yeah, thank
Okay,
you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Is that your Bible? It's a Bible.
It's a